18 of 19 series are aligned with stagflation mild this morning. That is the highest confirmation we have observed in the past 5 trading sessions. The current macro regime is stagflation mild, with a confirmation score of 18 out of 19. The macro regime captures a mathematical environment where growth momentum decelerates at -0.6041, while inflation momentum accelerates at +0.0081 simultaneously. The coherence score stands at 18 out of 19 series, and the confirmation score of 18 out of 19 reflects substantial systematic agreement across equity indices, fixed income, commodities, and currency pairs. Historically, regimes with confirmation at this level have persisted in 52% of comparable 3-month periods. Compared to last week, confirmation held steady at 18 series, indicating regime stability rather than deterioration. Environments like this have historically coincided with compressed equity valuations, elevated commodity volatility, and a flight toward duration in fixed income, mathematical observations of how markets have behaved under similar systematic pressure. The 10-year Treasury yield sits near 4.40%, carrying a green momentum label defined as acceleration in the inflation composite. In 9 of 11 comparable periods when yields held in this range, inflation momentum showed measurable acceleration within 2 weeks. Fed policy signals from Boston Fed President Susan Collins and Cleveland Fed President Beth Hammack have reinforced a neutral stance, with no rush for rate cuts and acknowledgement of persistent inflation pressures exacerbated by geopolitical energy shocks. Initial jobless claims, ICSA, trend upward with a green momentum label, reflecting labor market softening. In 8 of 11 historical instances, when claims rose at the current rate of change, employment growth decelerated within 3 weeks. Core inflation, CPI-FSL, remains elevated, also carrying a green label. In 7 of 9 comparable periods, persistent core inflation at current levels coincided with sustained price pressures across services and shelter for at least 4 weeks. Payroll employment, PAYMs, shows a red momentum label, indicating weakness. In 6 of 9 comparable instances, red payroll momentum coincided with broader labor market softening within the subsequent month. If the 10-year yield crosses 4.45%, and holds for 5 consecutive sessions, historical data shows inflation composite acceleration occurred in 9 of 11 similar instances, which would increase the mathematical case for an expansion to acceleration transition. This trigger would signal intensifying stagflationary pressure. If the Fear and Greed Index drops below 15 and holds for 5 consecutive sessions, the confirmation score deteriorated in 7 of 9 comparable instances, which would formally lower regime confidence and trigger a regime watch flag. The map is live. These conditions are being monitored daily across all 19 series. Atlas is the automated rules-based engine inside Given Analytics. It does 2 things in parallel. First, it publishes a view of the macro environment, the regime, the confirmation score, and the historical base rates we just covered. Second, it runs a fixed 4-layer mathematical framework. Price structure, rate of change, risk regime, and market participation across 407 liquid symbols every trading day. When all 4 layers agree on a symbol, Atlas records it as a potential long or potential short condition under the framework. These are time-stamped model readings logged for members to study. The environment view and the condition log sit side by side inside Atlas. They are separate outputs. The regime does not pick the symbols. The 4 layers do. Members use Atlas to study how the framework has recorded conditions across prior environments, as historical behavior, not as trade selection. Atlas runs the framework. You study the outputs and environment. You decide what to do next. This approach is educational and potential in nature, designed to build understanding of how mathematical conditions have evolved across market history. The morning brief is the public surface. The live Atlas dashboard shows the full 19 series regime map, today's mathematical conditions across 407 symbols, and the historical archive side by side. Members study the environment and the Atlas outputs each morning. If you want to track this alongside us, the live view is at givenanalytics.com. The 19 series and the 407 symbols are monitored in real time, and the historical archive allows you to compare today's mathematical configuration against prior environments where similar alignment occurred. These are historical mathematical observations, not predictions and not advice. Given Analytics is not a registered investment advisor. Hypothetical results may vary from actual results. Market conditions can change at any time. Potential, educational.